When two people secretly yearn for each other, the world doesn't speak of it, yet the energy speaks volumes. There's something fascinating, magnetic, almost forbidden in the way two souls try to pretend they feel nothing while their hearts cry out. It's a connection that needs no kiss, no confession, not even words, because the truth lies hidden in the silence, the stolen glances, the body's reactions before the mind can grasp them. And if you've ever wondered whether the feelings are mutual, pay close attention, because when two people like each other, there are clear signs. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on notifications, and dive into a deeper understanding of attraction, desire, and the secrets most people don't talk about. Now listen carefully, because the first noticeable sign isn't something they say. It's something their energy creates. It's the way their presence changes you. You don't even have to see them come in. Somehow your body just senses it. Your heart reacts even before your eyes confirm their presence. You stiffen, straighten up, try to act as if you weren't expecting them. But in your mind, you're already thinking about what you want to say. And here's the psychological twist. When two people are attracted to each other, the body anticipates the connection, even before the brain logically confirms it. You feel more alive, a little nervous, a little excited, as if your feelings have suddenly awakened. And you know what? The same thing happens with your children. Observe how they behave in your presence. Do they become more confident? Do they adjust their hair? Do they straighten their clothes? Do their eyes sparkle a little more when they see you? This is no coincidence. This is an unconscious signal. It's their way of showing them that they notice you. They want you to notice them too. And the funniest thing is that you're both trying to appear calm. You're trying to block out the mirror, but your body language gives you away. There's a moment of silence. It happens again and again. When your eyes meet, that moment when neither of you looks at the other quickly enough, that gentle touch of your souls that feels as if time stands still just for the two of you. If it were nothing, that moment would feel empty. But that's not how it is. It feels heavy. It feels as if you've touched without actually touching. And this eye contact spreads, not long enough to become obvious, but long enough that everything could change if one of you were brave enough. This is where the psychology gets a little murky. When two people like each other, their minds begin to observe each other like a spy watching a secret. Criminal, quietly, cautiously, trying not to get caught. You notice their hands, their voice, the way they laugh, the way they smile, and they notice you too. You don't look. They don't look, but you both keep looking. Like two magnets pretending not to be attracted to each other. Sometimes the attraction is so strong it almost scares you. You don't know why you feel left out. You just do it. You consider what they might be thinking. You repeat conversations. You analyze moments that should have been ordinary, but for some reason weren't. This is the first undeniable sign that someone can conceal their words, control their behavior, and disguise their intentions. Yet the attraction fades due to their outward appearance. You can see it in their eyes, in their voice. You can see it in how the silence suddenly becomes deafening when they are next to you. And deep inside you feel it. They feel it, even if no one says it out loud. If this sounds familiar, then your story might just be your imagination. But perhaps it's mutual. There's another sign. Subtle, seemingly harmless, but psychologically effective. When someone likes you and you like them back, conversations change. They become deeper, more meaningful, and strangely significant. Even when talking about trivial things, you know that feeling, right? When a simple "how was your day" suddenly feels familiar. Not because of the words, but because of the tone of voice. Your voice gets quieter, and so do you. This applies to you too. You both talk about how you try to encourage other people's ways of thinking without being pushy. This is precisely where emotional vulnerability begins to diminish. Many people converse as if on autopilot. Quick answers, dirty details, emotional involvement. But when two people secretly care about each other, they stop talking robotically. They begin to reveal parts of themselves. You realize they're confiding in you about personal things they wouldn't tell just anyone. Their dreams, what keeps them awake at night. Things that are difficult, private, and blunt. And therein lies the psychological key. People don't open up to those for whom they have no feelings. We only show our true selves when we feel emotionally safe. And attraction creates this safety faster than friendship. Pay attention to how your body language changes when you speak. They stand up without realizing it. Their voice becomes quieter, as if the conversation belonged only to them. They listen differently, not to reply, but to understand. They remember the little things you say, the details, things most people forget in seconds. But they don't forget you, because you're not just anyone to them, and you're not innocent either. You remember your favorite song, your favorite coffee, what they said 3 weeks ago. You suppress it mentally. Why? Because your mind clings to what your heart desires. But that also has a downside. A few moments of icy silence. Not dramatic, not loud, just faint hints of tension. Someone approaches you, and you notice a subtle change in their eyes. They try to appear uninvolved, but their smile widens. Their posture changes. Suddenly they need your attention again. Even if they don't admit it, you sense it too. When someone else has your attention, you notice yourself watching them, not out of greed, but out of concern. And yet you both act as if nothing has happened. You smile as if everything is normal. But inwardly she wonders, why are they giving their attention to someone else? They should be looking at me. It's a golden silence, the kind of silence that only arises when feelings are involved. But the most fascinating thing about it is, your conversations don't even have to happen constantly. You don't have to talk to each other every day. You don't have to text constantly, because connection isn't based on frequency. It's based on intensity. You can let hours, days, even months go by without speaking to each other. But when the conversation resumes, it feels as if it had never stopped, as if no time had existed between you, as if the bond between you had never broken. This is no coincidence. That's emotional conditioning. When someone is important to you, they exist not only in your life, but also in your thoughts. Perhaps you've tried to put it behind you, forget it, or gain some distance, but the attraction keeps drawing you back, especially when two people who like each other pretend to be friends. Maybe they're just acting like they're being nice to each other. You can pretend these feelings don't exist, but the energy never manifests, the behavior never arises, and the silence, especially the oppressive kind, most certainly never arrives. If this sounds familiar, don't imagine it. Sometimes the strongest clue lies not in what someone does, but in what they can't do. When two people like each other, a strange tension arises, a back and forth that neither can fully control. They try to appear normal, calm, and indifferent, but their own feelings betray them again and again in unexpected ways. Here we see the third compensatory sign. They treat you differently than everyone else, not in a dramatic or obvious way. In the silence, without words, they perceive things about you that remain hidden to others. Your music, your tone of voice, your silence. If you seem annoyed, they don't simply ignore you. They take care of you almost immediately. Even if they hide it behind casual words like, "Are you okay? You look different today? And are you sure everything is all right?" You don't ask questions like that if you don't care and sense it. You can tell when something's wrong with them. Even if they insist it's nothing, you can hear it in their voice. You can see it in their eyes. Attraction influences intuition. It makes you emotionally sensitive to others. But there's a deeper level, protection. If someone is important to you, you don't want them to suffer. You don't want to see him stressed, sad, or mistreated. You defend him, sometimes silently, sometimes loudly. Even the slightest criticism from someone makes you insecure. You want to protect them from the world. Even if you have no right to do so and they do the same to you, pay attention to how differently they react to you compared to others. How his voice strains, how his gaze wanders, how his words come more slowly, more thoughtfully, as if he doesn't want to say the wrong thing. What psychology calls emotional prioritization. When someone becomes important, the brain automatically treats them differently. It's not something you plan. It just happens. And that's the worst part. They become nervous in your presence. Not in a shy, awkward way, but rather as if they are trying to control themselves, but failing. They withdraw. They overthink their words. They laugh at things that aren't funny at all. They adjust their posture. His voice changes. His breathing changes. Attraction is a biological stress response. Your brain becomes especially attentive to the person you desire. So, if someone acts confidently around everyone else but suddenly behaves more cautiously, gently, shyly, or differently around you, it's no coincidence. You're awakening feelings in them. The strongest psychological sign, however, is this. They notice your absence. When you leave, they look at you. If you remain silent, they will ask why. If it takes you longer to answer, they will sense it. They don't need to say it out loud. Their behavior gives it away. Perhaps that's why they distance themselves and then suddenly become passionate again, because they're fighting for that feeling. Perhaps they start conversations about trivial things because they simply want your attention. Perhaps they are deceiving you, annoying you, or playing games with you, because eliciting an emotional response is better than being ignored. People don't seek the company of those for whom they feel nothing. We seek the company of people who make us feel alive. And sometimes the most confusing thing about it is this. You both know there's something there, but neither of you dares to say it. Why? because it's scary to like someone who reciprocates those feelings. You're afraid of ruining the friendship. They're afraid of rejection. You're afraid of getting hurt. They're afraid of losing you. That's why you both live in almost constant tension, in a wordless chemistry. But chemistry can't remain silent forever. She always finds a way to show up. If that sounds familiar, you're not imagining it. You feel it. There's a moment that always brings the truth to light. Not when you're together, laughing, talking, and joking, but just before departure. Pay attention to what happens on that last Monday. Because when two people like each other, goodbyes never feel easy. You can tell by the hesitation, the pause, the slight delay, as if both are waiting for something. A word, a glance, a sign that neither has the courage to give. Maybe they say, "Okay, see you later," but their voices don't sound like someone who's ready to leave. Maybe they just walk away, walk a little too far, their bodies refusing to go, even when their feet are telling them they should. In psychology, this is called the inhibition of distancing. When someone likes you, your brain tries to extend every second of their presence, sometimes without any words, and the bond deepens. When you're gone, you don't mentally switch off. Your presence lingers. You remain in their thoughts. They relive conversations, moments, glances, as if this small memory of you were their dearest refuge. You're doing the exact same thing. You find yourself constantly checking your phones, wondering if they'll text, hoping they'll start a conversation, even if nothing happens. "Are you home yet? What are you doing? I saw something today that reminded me of you." These messages are no coincidence. They are a sign of desperation. And when no message is sent, there is another sign. They follow your stories, like your posts, and respond quietly and regularly to your updates. Because people who like you are always looking for a certain presence in your world, even if they don't have the courage to express their feelings. But this is precisely where the psychology becomes darker and more powerful. Even silence becomes a form of communication. If you don't show up one day, don't write, don't call, simply don't appear, they notice, ask about it, sense it, not out of obsession, but because you've become emotionally relevant. Then there's the territorial instinct. If someone flirts with you or compliments you and gets too close, you'll see it, that glint in their eyes. No anger, no drama, just a quiet mistrust they can't hide. Because attraction arises from a still atmosphere. I don't want anyone else to have what I feel connected to. They don't say it, but the silence speaks louder than any confession. And there's another sign that people forget. They remember your hurts, your sad days, your fears, your insecurities. Someone who only admires your beauty will forget you quickly. Someone who likes you remembers the things that hurt you. They notice when you're quiet, even when you're smiling. They hear the pain in your jokes. They ask if you're okay, even if you say you are. This isn't mere curiosity, but genuine emotional interest. And if you open up a little, they listen to you with an attention the world otherwise rarely offers them. No phone, no distractions, just you. Because when someone is important to you, their feelings matter more than your own well-being. And now comes the strangest part. Even if you both try to end the connection, ignore it, distance yourselves, pretend you don't care, you'll always come back. Why? Because true mutual attraction has a powerful force. You may drift apart, but your feelings remain close. So if saying goodbye to someone feels difficult, if their silence radiates joy, if you sense their presence even when they're not there, then that's no coincidence. It's real and you know it. There comes a point when mutual attraction ceases to be a theory and becomes an undeniable reality. This happens when you both start protecting the relationship. Even if no one has confessed anything, you no longer flirt with others in the same way. You no longer talk to them about just one person. You become cautious, almost loyal without labels, without promises, without ever having been told to do it. You begin to think about how your actions might affect them. They do the same. And here we see the final and strongest sign. You are creating a world in which only the two of you exist. This could manifest itself in the fact that you only share your secrets with them, the way you send memes that only they understand, the way you give them a name no one else has, the hidden playfulness, the subtle hints concealed beneath the sarcasm. These are emotional signs, signs that say, you are important to me, you are different, you matter. And then there are moments that frighten you. The thought of losing them hurts you, even if they don't technically belong to you. That's the truth of the heart. The mouth remains silent. Can you imagine what it would be like if they suddenly stopped talking to you, if they simply disappeared? When someone else has taken their place in your life, it's unsettling. Not because you're weak, but because feelings don't ask for permission before they grow. And if they feel the same way, you'll notice. They'll fall silent if you mention someone else. They'll ask subtle questions. They want to know where you are, who you've been with, and why you didn't reply sooner. They're not trying to control you. They just want to know you still feel the same way about them. And then the moment of truth, a small touch. Perhaps her hand playfully touches yours. Perhaps her fingers grip your arm more tightly. Perhaps her mirror presses against yours for a moment longer than necessary. This touch is never accidental. It's a testing of boundaries, a silent question. Do you withdraw or move closer? You don't withdraw. The other person doesn't withdraw either. Because the body always speaks before the voice. And here lies the greatest psychological truth of all. If two people like each other, they don't need to say it. The connection speaks for itself. It's the eye contact that burns a little over a longer period. The intricate web that makes everything seem so real. The silence that makes everything seem so perfect. A farewell that feels incomplete. Mutual attraction is like two hearts playing cards. Both hope, both want, both are afraid of losing. So if you've felt this, if someone has given you these signs, if your thoughts keep returning to this person no matter how hard you try to push them away, then stop doubting it. You can't imagine feelings this strong. You can't invent such a genuine attraction. You can't imagine such deep feelings. Sometimes two people haven't spoken the word simply because the connection is too beautiful to risk, but the truth is already there in their eyes, in their energy, in their silence. They both like each other and know it. Thanks for watching. If this video touched you, please subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up, and share it with someone who should hear it.